So, you won the Mega Millions or Powerball jackpot lottery. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Big Shot. Now what are you going to do? Well, statistics have it that 75% of the people who win these large lotteries, millions of dollars, go broke within a short time, 2, 3 years. Why? Because some of them are stupid. There is a story, and it's a pitfall that you got to watch out for, and that is this fellow won millions of dollars, and then he acquired a new girlfriend. Of course, when you win millions of dollars, you get people that want to marry you, you get people that want to be your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever. They want to be your financial advisor. So this guy acquired a girlfriend. She talked him into selling or signing over the mortgage to the brand new big mansion that he bought. And this was in Florida. And then she said, well, look at you, you don't really understand business and money. I do. So sign your bank account over to me. Now, would you do that? No. So hence, the guy was stupid. I hate to say that because he's dead. What happened was that a little while after she got everything signed over to her and her boyfriend, her real boyfriend, this millionaire's body was discovered buried in the front yard of her boyfriend, her real boyfriend. So there are things to watch out for, and there are things that will make you a happy little millionaire. And I'm going to point those things out to you. Have I ever won a jackpot, Mega Millions, Powerball? No, I'm probably going to at some point. You know, always the happy guy, happy thoughts. But I've written 13 books, and anybody who writes books studies things to death. And I've studied this lottery situation to death, just in case. So let me pass along some of that information that I found to you so that you can avoid a lot of pitfalls that you have no idea are going to happen. So I'm going to tell you now the things that I would do and the things that I would not do. First of all, if you're in a state that you have to identify yourself, and then the lottery does a little blurb in the newspapers or whatever, and everybody knows that you just won. Some states, I think it's 6 states, Illinois, maybe South Carolina, I know for sure, you can go and you can win a Mega Millions or jackpot lottery, and they don't require that you tell them who you are. You can go incognito. So that's a good thing. But for the states that are going to blab your name all over the place and get you to the lottery headquarters to hold up that beautiful check, there are things to look out for. First of all, they're going to require that you sign the back of the ticket, and of course you should do that no matter what, especially if you win and you discover, ooh, all 6 numbers came up, I'm the winner. Now what? So you go to the lottery headquarters, and I would call them first, of course. This is me. This is what I would do. I would call them and say, look, I'm the winner of the jackpot. I'd like to come in and talk to you about how I want to receive the funds. I would then open a bank account in a very large bank, like maybe Bank of America. And that's a separate account from my regular checking account and so forth and so on. And I would ask the lottery to transmit those funds into that bank account. And I would have 2 accounts there. I would have a regular checking account, and then I would have a savings account. I would also say to the bank, this is me, I want to earn 2% of the money that's in the bank, and it'll be millions of dollars. So 2% of multi-millions of dollars adds up to a lot of money. You say, well, gee, I can invest it in the stock market, and some people make 7 or 8%. Yeah, and the stock market in 2022 is where? It's in the toilet. So you can negotiate for a much better rate, interest rate on your money from a large bank. Believe me, you can do it. So that's the first thing I would do. Now, the next thing that you have to watch out for is coming up. You will be hammered, I mean inundated, by relatives and friends that you haven't seen since high school coming out of the woodwork and saying, "Hey, John, I'm your best friend, right?" "No, I haven't seen you in 20 years. "Yeah, but how about giving me $1 million? I mean, you got a lot of money there. Or just give me 100,000. You're going to get people like that all the time. And you have to just be tough and blow them off and say, "No, I haven't seen you in 20 years. I'm not giving you a dime." Or what I do is I've already listed a plan of who gets the money. In my case, my children would get X amount of dollars out of the millions. X amount. Now, what you don't know, and then I have picked out 4 friends that would get some decent money. And if they're not happy with the decent money, then too bad. So what? So you will make some friends, and you will make lots of friends, and then you will make some enemies even among the people you know. Just get tough-skinned, and that's the way it is. That's exactly the way it is. So what you don't know is this. Well, I'm going to give my mother $1 million. Wow, that's great. I'm going to buy her a house and give her $1 million. What you didn't know is that the IRS is going to make you, the giver of the monetary gift, they're going to make you pay 37% tax on the money you just gave away. The gift receiver does not have to pay the tax. You do. So if you're giving $1 million away, then you're going to have to give $370,000 more, and you write the check out, that extra check, to my mom and the IRS, so that mom has to sign it, and then the IRS cashes it, and she's protected, and you netted her $1 million, just so you know. You also have to write a check for 6% of that million, or 60 grand, to the state that she lives in. Sometimes it's more than that, 6.25, sometimes it's 7%. So you just have to know where mommy lives, or your son or your daughter, or whoever you're giving money to, because you have to pay the tax on it. Let me bring you something else about, do I quit work or do I stay at work? Okay, so I just won all this money. It's in my Bank of America account. I've already doled out money to mom and my son, my daughter, whatever, and a few of my closest friends. And here's what you have to tell mom and your sons and your friends. I'm giving you this check, and I'm also giving you a check to pay the taxes on it for your federal tax bite and your state tax bite, but you cannot go blab that you got the money from me for a lot of reasons. One of them is, if they know you have $1 million, they're going to come after you and beg you for money. But the other thing is strictly security issues. People have been kidnapped when thieves find out that you have the money. So that's another reason why I'll tell you why you got to move too. But you have to tell anyone you give the money to, do not mention this, because your kids are in danger. As soon as they find out you have money, it's over. So you just give them the check, and the check for the Fed tax, and the check for the state tax, and you just caution them and let them realize, totally realize, that somebody could get kidnapped, including them. So that's the danger right there. Now, should I quit work? The answer for me was absolutely quit work within 2 weeks. Give 2 weeks notice. Why? I've heard some people say, "Oh no, I'm going to stay working." The people at work will find out that you just won the lottery. And guess what? Everybody at work is going to say, "Hey, Fred, Alice, you know, we've been associated with you forever. We share lunch together and we chat. How about giving me some money? Others will come to you and say, look, I'd like to be your financial advisor. Or they're going to come to you and say, look, I got this plan that's unbelievable. I just need $1 million, and then I'll give you 10% interest on everything I get. Ignore these people. Forget about it. It's your money, and it's the money that you decide to gift away, and make sure you cover that security interest of yourself and them. Because if they blab they got the money from you, John, then my life is possibly in jeopardy, and I don't want that to happen, and I don't. My friends and relatives certainly would not. So quit your job within 2 weeks. Now, what about moving? As soon as you win the lottery, you have to think about buying a house somewhere else, different state, whatever, beachfront mansion, whatever. You have to buy it, and then you have to move yourself at least into it. And then you put your present house on the market for sale. The reason I say that is this: as soon as, if you live in a state where the lottery headquarters are going to blab your name all over the place, John Tyler from Poughkeepsie, New York, whatever, won the lottery. Everybody and their mother, your neighbors, people in town, people out of town, they're going to come to your house and fill your front yard with themselves. They're going to be ringing your doorbell. They're going to be knocking on your door. They're going to be looking in your windows. They want some of that money. So to avoid that, you list your house to sell, but before you do that, you buy another house in another state, if you will, wherever it is, and then you go buy new furniture for that place. All that stuff is great. But your present house, you have to, in my opinion, and I would do it, you have to avoid being there. Okay. Now, what about giving to charities? I'm a big believer in that. And as a church goer, what I would do is earmark, churches always say, you got to tithe on your money. So I would earmark 10%, which is a tithe, to my church out of whatever the millions are. You just do a formula there, 10% of X millions, that's going to my church. But I also assigned another 10 to 20% for other charities. There will be people that come into your life that, for example, I have a thing called Market Samaritan.com. Anyway, what that is, and I already kind of do that, but I have a shirt that says that, and in the middle of the shirt is a logo that says, if you see this logo, I'm buying your food. So what I do is I will get in back of somebody that I feel is they would need me to pay for that basket full of groceries that they have. I also do that at gas stations. So anyway, sometimes I set them up too. I'll buy one thing, like a little quart of milk, whatever, and I'll stand behind them with the big wagon. If they say to me, oh, you only have one item, go ahead of me. To me, that's my little signal. But so you'll find things like that you'll want to do. You'll want to share it, like Secret Santa does when he goes around at Christmas time and goes into shopping centers and he hands out $100 bills. You might wish to do that. So therefore, that's why I set aside. Or there's a homeless person on the street. Had one come up to me when I was at a place that you order a meal and you sit at the bench and you have your meal. They're probably $15, $20, whatever. So this one guy rode up in a bicycle, and you could tell the guy was a homeless guy. Anyway, he was looking at the menu and stuff, and he couldn't afford it. He's just looking at the menu. So I said, you see anything up there that you like? And he says, yeah, the clam plate looks, I wish I had one. I can't afford one. So I said, order the clam plate, and I told the chef there, give him what he wants and I'll pay for it. And so those are things that you will want to do. You really will. You'll have a benevolent heart when you receive money that you didn't earn. It only cost you $2 to win it. So you become grateful, not to the point where you're giving your money away willy-nilly to every idiot that shows up at your doorstep. So that's what I do with the charities. Everybody recommends the first thing you do is you hire a lawyer and an accountant. Well, I have to tell you the truth. I don't like lawyers and I don't like accountants. That's why I prefer to just take the safe road and go to my bank and say, look, I want 2%. I'm going to put all this money into your bank and I want 2%. They have ways to do that, and they could filter it out because the feds only pay, I think it's insured for $250,000. Well, anyway, they have ways to distribute that money throughout their branches or whatever it is. I can't remember the name of that code that they use, but they have it. So they'll pay you 2%. And to me, that eliminates, why do I want a lawyer? You want a lawyer only if you're going to get sued by some idiot that says, oh, that guy won the $1 million lottery or multi-million-dollar lottery and he's driving around in that fancy car. I'm going to rear end him. I'm going to get in front of him and let him or her rear end me. And then I'm going to fall out and hold my neck and all that stuff, and I'm going to sue them. So you may run across that. That could happen. It won't if you're careful and you stay incognito, under the radar. You buy a house in a trust, not your name, and nobody can find you. Nobody knows anything. Let me get into the next subject, which is social media. The first thing I would do is, number one, go to a UPS store where my new house is and have a mailbox, or the post office. Have a mailbox. That's where I would get my mail. Nothing delivered at my house. The other thing that I would do is immediately get off of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Get off. You don't need to be on there anymore. And then if you're on there, you know people are going to beg you for money. John, we went to school together and I've been sick. You're going to hear stories. I've been sick. My mother's sick. She needs an operation. So $100,000 would certainly help out. Come on, be a friend. You got to almost go stone cold on that stuff. Not that you don't want to listen to them, but you can't. It's that simple. You can't listen to everybody who's going to want money, and there will be hundreds of them begging you for money. Turn it off in your brain. Social media, no. Mailbox, you change. You cancel out your mail wherever your present home is. You cancel it out. And what mail are you going to get anyway? You're only going to get bills for your new house and maybe some bills for your old house. But I've already planned that out, and everything I do is online. So the only mail I get in my mailbox now is ads, junk mail. All my bills I pay online. So that's what I would do. Get off the social media stuff. Stay low-keyed. The very first thing I would do is shut my mouth. If I won, and I already know I won, before I collect the money, or even after I collect the money, I don't tell my kids, I don't tell my spouse, I don't tell anybody about the win until the money is physically in my new bank account and it's earning interest. Then it's time to get your relatives and just your relatives together, and you explain to them what just happened and that you are going to, what I would do anyway is I would already have prepared the checks for each kid in the right amount, and the second check to the IRS, the kid and IRS, the kid and Commonwealth of Massachusetts, whatever. And then I would have to sit down with them. I'll say, here's what you're getting. Keep your mouth shut, or else people are going to kidnap your kids or you, and you don't want that. And I don't want you telling people, oh yeah, my father won X hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever. You know, go find him, kidnap him, or kidnap me, and then tell him that you'll release me if he gives me, the crook, $1 million. So all that stuff you need to avoid. But you need to have a sit down right after you got the money. You put it in your bank, all nice and hush-hush. And then when they physically see the check that you wrote to them, then they're going to be believers. And then they're going to want to be exercise caution. And then the other thing that I would discuss with my children is, look, here's all the money. I'm going to buy a house over here on the ocean, Gulf of Mexico, New England, whatever. So what do you want to do? Do you want to have a family compound? Do you guys want to just go out on your own and buy your own thing, do your own thing, which is fine. But that way you know what the future is going to hold for you and for them. Then I would also then consult my, I think it's 4 friends that I have that I would give some money to, some meaningful money. And I would issue the check first before I spoke to them. Here's the check I'm giving you. It's net to you. Here's the you and the IRS check. Here's the you and your state check for paying the taxes on it, so that what I'm giving you now is net. Now, you cannot divulge that you have it, because people would kidnap you or your kids, or if you say John Tyler won the Powerball, jackpot, whatever, then they're going to come after me. I don't want that. So hush hush is the thing. Just loose lips sink ships. That's an old saying. Anyway, be right back. So to sum this up, you've learned, or at least you've been told, the pitfalls to avoid so you don't get in trouble and you don't fall into the same category as the poor guy down in Florida that lost his life for it. Well, you're not stupid and pee the money away, so to speak, by giving it all away. And you're not tagged with, you know, here's $1 million, Mom. And then Mom gets a little letter from the IRS later saying, hey, Mom, it's nice that your kid gave you $1 million, but we want $370,000 for the Fed tax, and we want 60 grand more for the state tax. So Mom's already mad at you because you didn't really give her $1 million. You gave her $1 million minus 43% roughly of that. Okay, so that's it. I quit. You won the big jackpot lottery. Now what? Now you know what.